See, now it's stuff like this that makes me think that Konami, as a company, has realized that we're not very happy with them, and they're just doing anything in their power and capability to actually, like, start gaining some, like, fan favoritism again, because, like, this sort of stuff, this sort of nonsense just makes me really happy, and I hate this game. So, like, if I hate this game, and these cards are making me really, like, excited to play them and stuff, I can only imagine what they're doing, like, this news is doing for people that, like, absolutely enjoy waiting for these cards to come out and all this sort of nonsense. Like, I can only imagine. But, anyway, today, we have, we have the incomplete effect and spoiling of a new card, which, we all kind of, like, thought we might potentially get some Aroma Synchros when we had, you know, Aromaseraphy Angelica spoiled, and, you know, that was spoiled a few days back, I think. Maybe a week at most, I think. But today, we have Aromaseraphy Rosemary spoiled to us. And like I said, it's not complete, so I'll probably end up doing another video on this when it's full effect, it gets confirmed, its full stats and everything, because there's currently a thumb print and thumb in front of the, like, the last part of the card effect as well as the defense value. So there's not really confirmable text or stats to the 100% degree. But this card is an upgraded form of Aromage Rosemary. Rosemary is a level 4 non-tuner, and Angelica is a level 1 tuner. So they become this level 5 Synchro monster, and it upgrades Rosemary. Now this means, could we potentially see more cards in the future in the form of new Aromaseraphy Synchros that are upgraded forms of the other Aromages, like Jasmine, Kananga, Baromat, or whatever its name is, the level 5 one? Like, could we see more of these cards that just, like, are just Synchro plus 1 level of the original monster and then an upgraded effect? Could we see that? It would definitely potentially add a lot to the Aromage deck in terms of what you're capable of doing, and it would also just add a lot of versatility as well as ease of accessibility and ease of use. So I think that could potentially be, you know, a game plan moving forward, considering that this card is so very clearly just an upgraded Rosemary. I don't see why anything would be keeping Konami from actually making the other ones have an upgraded form as well. But anyway, what we know about this card so far is its name and some of its stats. So, Aromaseraphy Rosemary, like I've already said, upgraded form of Aromage Rosemary. Level 5, light, plant-type Synchro effect monster. Attack 2000, defense unknown. Takes 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. So it is generic, so you do not need to make it with Angelica or Aromage monsters in general. You just don't have to. But it has 2 effects. Its first effect is if you have more life points than your opponent, plant-type monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. So if you have higher life than your opponent, all your plants automatically gain 500 attack and defense. This thing's automatically a 2500 beater, which is actually a respectable number for a level 5 Synchro. That's very respectable. And then its second effect is the one that's kind of obscured. It says, once per turn, if you gain life points, target 1 face-up, we don't know, card your opponent controls until some specified time that card's effect is negated. So we don't know if it targets face-up cards or not. We can only imagine that it would target face-up. Like, that's just, you know, the line ends because of the thumb that's in the way on the source picture. And it says, you know, target 1 something card your opponent controls, might have to be face-up, and until an unspecified amount of time, that card's effect is negated. Now, it would make sense for it to be a face-up card because, like, you can't negate face-downs. So, like, it would make sense for it to say face-up, so that we can pretty much almost guarantee will probably say face-up, because it does have to be a card your opponent controls. That is confirmed. But, so the main thing we were missing is the time frame of how long that card's effect is negated. But this card can negate card effects. That's actually huge. That's actually very, very big and important for a level 5 Synchro that's as easy to access as this card potentially is to have. Like, you can gain life points in multiple different ways on your opponent's turn to actually, you know, negate card effects. Now, you're not going to be able to use this as like a Phoenix Chain, Breakthrough Skill, or Veiler, except for some very, very choice and few situations, but it is possible. The most notable interactions I can think of using this card where you're actually going to be able to use it reactively and actually negate effects of triggering things is mainly against, like, Monarchs, specifically in 2 different situations that come to mind immediately, and that is, you have this card on the board, your opponent summons Idea, the Heavenly Squire, and activates their effect to summon Eidos from deck. Now, at this point, you activate a card effect that would cause you to gain life points. Thus, you gain life points at Chain Link 2, Idea resolves as Chain Link 1, summoning Eidos out of the deck. Now, this card's effect is a trigger effect, so that means it has to activate on a new chain at its next available moment. But it is an if effect, so it will not miss timing. and it actually looks like it is mandatory as well. So it's if and mandatory, so it won't, miss any form of timing. So in this situation, your opponent summons Eidos from their deck, and a new chain forms. Eidos is mandatory to gain the additional tribute summon, or at least attempt to. It activates. And so Eidos activates as Chain Link 1 with them being turn player. And then your effect, being mandatory, will take Chain Link 2. And you can then use this effect to negate the Eidos. The Eidos actually gets negated because it does have to activate and resolve, and your opponent gets no more normal summons for the turn because their Eidos got negated. So that's just a neat little interaction there. Another interaction against the Monarch deck is your opponent reveals either the Heavenly Monarch in their hands and attempts to, tribute some cards they control. This is obviously not factoring in Stormforth. This card stays on the board. So they activate either's effect in their hand to attempt to, tribute summon it on your own turn. You then chain a card that increases your life points. So Chain Link 2, you gain life points. Chain Link 1, your opponent's either resolves and tribute summons itself on your turn. Then on a new chain, you can actually, activate this and negate it. Well, actually, no, that actually doesn't work. Now that I think about it, because I'm so hardwired into thinking Monarchs are mandatory effects, but either actually isn't. Oops. If this actually ends up being mandatory, since its effect isn't 100% confirmed, if this second effect ends up being mandatory, that entire situation I just said actually doesn't work. So don't hold that one to anything. But the idea and Eidos one actually does work. That's actually a really common play in BA with Beatrice, is that you'll send an Alec off Beatrice in response to the idea, and it will negate the Eidos. That is a very common play. But there are some other situations where this can come up, but being able to negate a face-up card is actually still just very powerful in its own right, because you can negate floodgates, you can negate things like that. It has to be in a card your opponent controls, which kind of sucks, which means you can't, have skill drain up and, negate it or something like that, or have lose a turn up and negate it for your own turn. Stuff like that doesn't really happen, but overall, this card is actually just really cool. Other than my misunderstanding of how, either works, because, like I said, I'm 100% hard-coded into believing every single big Monarch is mandatory, because I've been so used to old Yu-Gi-Oh! Where every single Monarch that ever came out was mandatory. Its effect was mandatory on summon, so there's that. But otherwise, I'm really curious to see if this actually, gets more Synchros in the Aroma archetype, because of the fact that, they could easily print more Synchros that have the upgraded names of the original Aroma Age cards. It's very simple, it's very easy, and I honestly hope that's the route that they go down, because it would give the deck a lot more potential staying power in whatever future format is, happening when this deck is out and around, when these new cards are out and around. But other than that, that's all I really want to talk about in this video. Like I said, I'm probably going to end up making another video when this card's effect is 100% confirmed, so that we know if it's mandatory or not, if we know what time frame it negates to. If it negates the card permanently, holy shit. That's going to be amazing. Really good, because it's a level 5 that's automatically 2,500 if you're at higher life, which is the entire point of the deck that it's played in. And then you get to, negate cards, if it's permanent, or, for any sizable amount of time. That's actually really, really huge. But otherwise, that's basically it for this video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description to my Facebook and Twitch links. If you want to check those out, definitely feel free to do so. That is why they're there. If you want to support me, clicking ads on my videos is the best way to support me. Helps out a ton, and it'd be really cool if you could take some time out of your day just to do that for me. Disabling ad block if you need to, all that sort of nonsense. It would be greatly appreciated. Can't express how much it helps, as I've already said. But other than that, let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below. When we get a confirmed effect for it, you'll definitely be hearing from me about it. But other than that, that's it for this video. And as always, guys, take care.